dismembered, decapitated. It's probably because you're trying to hide something and make sure certain details don't happen.
Tend to Life with Elise starts right now.
Hey guys, how's it going? Let me just fix this here really quick. Sorry, I'm doing some poor planning today, but here we go. All right, I think I got that. All right. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I think, is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Sorry, it's been one of those weeks. Hope you guys are all having a good day. Lots to talk about today. A lot of case updates, a lot of news, a lot of information to share, and a lot of details we're going to break down. So for those of you, as you're coming into the chat, if you are brand new here for the first time and somehow popped up on your screen, welcome. My name is Elise, and this is Tend to Life, where we talk all things true crime. And for those of you who, of course, are familiar with the channel, thank you for coming back. And if you haven't done so yet, hit subscribe and turn your notification bell to on so that you get notified of live streams as they happen and new video updates as they drop. So let me say hi to some of you in the chat before we jump in and get started. Hello, Margaret, that girl, Louisiana girl, Shelby. We got a lot of familiar names, which I love. Sarcastic superhero. I feel like I haven't seen you in so long. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, Megan, how are you doing? I feel like you probably are about to pop like me. I know you're much closer than I am to your due date. And so if I feel like I'm going to pop, I can only imagine that you feel like that as well. So I hope you're doing well and feeling well. All right. So as I mentioned, there is a lot to go over today. And for those of you who are in Discord, you know we have different threads where we talk literally all day, every day about the cases, updates as they happen. And if you want to be a part of that conversation, you can join. Mods will drop some of those links in the chat. But there's been a lot of discussion this week. Not only are we coming off of the heels of the Barry Morphew updates and what's going on in that case, we had updates with the Tristan Bailey case, and we still are waiting for more updates with that. And we've dissected it a little bit further. And we, of course, know good old Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, as of yesterday, have formally been charged with the murder of Tammy Daybell, Tylee Ryan, and JJ Vallow, which I feel like we all knew was coming, right? In addition to that, so we have kind of the lineup of what I have on my notes of what I want to go through. But then I was thinking, maybe it's better to just kind of keep it like an open forum and unrestricted, because I know there are a lot of you with questions out there about a lot of cases. And as long as we can do so in a nice way where nobody's being attacked in the chat and there's no trolling and all that, we can talk through everything. But I figured might as well just kind of have it unrestricted. You guys in the chat, let me know what you want to talk about after I go through all of my stuff, and we can kind of just keep it open. So let's start with the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case, because I know I had posted earlier on my status that I was going to create a flowchart for you guys with a visual aid that really walks you through all of the key players, everybody involved, the timeline of events, how all of these people are interconnected, because it is just like the most insane spider web out there. And so I did that. I created that. So we're going to start with that, and we're going to go through all of that. And I see some requests already about updates on the two boys, updates on SL. We're going to not say her name on here, but we'll say initials. Yep, I am seeing. All right. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Michelle. I appreciate it. Louisiana girl, can we see the bump, please? Maybe in a little bit. Let me just like ease into it because it's hiding under here right now. Beans or Bob, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I am feeling well. I am feeling like I am getting bigger and bigger by the day, but overall I can't complain. Little girl was literally kicking me right before I came on here, so hopefully she takes a little snooze as we do this. All right. So let's get right into it. So we know yesterday that, of course, there were formal charges that had now been filed against Lori and Chad in the murders of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. And we all, again, thought this was coming. And as we were talking through all of the updates, I asked you guys, okay, I know that this case, even if you have followed it from the very beginning, it can become very confusing because there are so many people involved, so many people who are connected, whether it's through relationships, family, marriage, all sorts of different things. And it can get really freaking confusing, not only because of how many people are involved, but because how many people have died and the circumstances around those deaths and the timeline that this whole thing has really been playing out from start to finish. So what I decided to do is create a visual aid. And so we're going to start with that before, oh my gosh, how weird was that? Did you guys see that shadow? I think it was a plane. We're going to start with that, visual aid. And so let me go ahead over here and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And I'm going to go through this with you so we can talk through it. And if there's stuff that maybe I didn't include that you feel like is key to include in it, let me know. All right. Okay, so here we start with the key players in the twisted web of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. And I really wanted to give you guys a yearbook snapshot here of all of these people who are involved. And I tried to keep who I deem as the villains in the story at the top and who I deem as the victims of the story in the bottom. And that's just my personal opinion. So that's the way I broke it out. So you can start, here's the names to the faces. We've got Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, who are the leads in this story. Alex Cox, who it has a minor role in this. I mean, kind of a major role, but he's like a minor player. He thinks he's bigger than he is, in my opinion. Melanie Gibbs, Zulema. Melanie P does need to be on there. You are absolutely right. Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell, Tylee Ryan, JJ Vallow, and Joseph Ryan. All right, so now you guys have the snapshot. These are the key players. And I'm telling you guys, it gets better. Just work with me here. Now we're going to talk through some of the connections. And we are going to do this before we go into the full breakdown flowchart of events. And I'm just going to tell you, I tried to get a little fancy with it on this next slide here and like animate it so things would like come flying in as they happen. But like, who's got the time? All right, so we start with, let's just start here in the middle with Lori and Chad Daybell. We see that they met in person for the first time through that podcast back in December 2018. And then they, of course, got married in the fall of 2019. And we'll get into specifics with that in just a minute. If you kick it over to the left, you can see that Lori's connection to Joseph Ryan is they were married in 2001. They divorced in 2004. He died of an apparent heart attack in 2018. Then if you go down, her next husband, shortly after filing for divorce in 2004, she married Charles Vallow. They had a pending divorce as of February 2019, and then he coincidentally died just a couple of months later, July 2019. You kick it directly down from there, and you see the two children that they shared, and she has another child, Colby, but I just wanted to kind of keep this, the main players in this story. So you kick it down to Tylee Ryan, who is Lori's daughter with Joseph, and then also JJ Vallow, who Lori and Charles adopted, and it's a family member's child who they adopted, and that's a different story for a different day. And then because we don't know their official date of death, I did include that their bodies were discovered on the 9th of June, 2020. So now one more connection to good old Lori Vallow is right below her. Alex Cox, her brother / in my opinion, henchman, and he died on, was it the 12th or the 9th? Did I get that wrong? Sorry. Early December 2019. I think it was the 12th, but for some reason the 9th is standing out to me. Anyways, go over to Chad Daybell and you can see his beautiful wife, Tammy Daybell. They married in 1990, and she also mysteriously died of natural causes on October 19th, 2019. Then what's interesting is if you go down into Alex's little quadrant, Zulema and Alex married 2.5 weeks before he died. Just remember that. And then I threw Melanie Gibbs in there because she is Chad and Lori's friend. She is a key witness in all of this. She has given testimony. A lot of people believe she was much more aware of things than she played on and let on. And she was also the last to see JJ alive on her trip to visit Lori in Idaho on September 24th, 2019, when she saw Alex carrying JJ to bed, and this odd story. Okay, so now let's go to the next slide. And again, I tried to animate this a little so it wouldn't be so overwhelming right out of the gate, but we're going to just go through it, and we'll go item by item and talk a little bit too as we go through it. So this is what I call the path of destruction. And I just wanted to really create a visual aid, not only for you guys, but for myself, quite honestly, because this case is just like unreal. And there's so much that couldn't even be included in this that are important details, but like this really dials it up. Okay. So that girl, you're dying right now, huh? Oh my God, I know. This is like the type A person in me. This is like, yeah, I know. It's crazy. All right. So we start with that December 5th meeting in 2018. And I'm just going to go right here so I can show you. And that's when they were working on this podcast together. They were talking about doomsday stuff. We all know it was like this very bizarre religious cult situation. So they meet and they, of course, fall in love. And so what do you, of course, do when you fall in love with a cult leader, but you're already married? You start acting on how to get out of that marriage, but not through divorce, because then you don't get any money. So you got to get creative. And this is, again, just my speculation and opinion. Let's make that clear. So the wheels are turning for Lori. And she starts acting erratically. She starts talking about how the children are going to turn into zombies and how she's going to live on in the ends of the world and all of these things. And Charles is basically like, yo, Lori, you're batshit crazy. I got to get off this boat. You're going to sink me like the Titanic. So he discusses filing for divorce. And this was in February 2019. And then just a couple of months later, you go over to July 11th, 2019. And Alex, Lori's brother / henchman, in my opinion, shoots and kills Charles in what they are claiming self-defense. And if anybody saw that 911 video, the body cam and like the call and all this, I mean, he says how he came at, Alex says how Charles came at him with the bat in his head, yet he has this itty bitty baby gash. Like my 2-year-old son has had bigger scrapes on his knee. And he says it was in self-defense and he shot him, which not buying it. And I'm waiting on this indictment to come. I am waiting on that. So this is just a couple months later. He shoots him and Charles passes away. Love always, thank you so much for the super chat. And I am so glad that you get to sip and watch with us. Then we move just 1 month later to August 2019. And I want to just throw this out there too. And I included it in the notes because I feel it's a very important detail. The day that Charles died, the day that he was killed by Lori's brother in this self-defense movement, Lori threw a pool party at the house. Not quite the ex-wife, or not even formally ex-wife, but not quite the estranged wife in mourning. Not at all. Then, so it's about a month later, she packs up the kids and they move to Rexburg, Idaho, where coincidentally Chad Daybell lives. So you can see as you kind of follow the bouncing ball, as you follow the bouncing ball, they meet. She's got to get out of this marriage. So she has her henchman brother kill her husband so she can get the money, but so that she doesn't have to divorce him. Then she takes the kids and she goes to Idaho to be with this loser. Sorry, I don't know a better word to call him. And they go to Idaho, which, by the way, Chad lives in Idaho with his wife, Tammy, at the moment. And we're going to get there. The following month, Tylee and JJ are last seen alive, and the dates have been misreported and they're a little bit mixed out there. Some are saying that the last known sighting of JJ was on the 24th, which I had mentioned Melanie Gibb had testified to, and it was when she saw Alex carrying him out. Tylee, though, had not been seen since the first week of September, and I believe it was on that trip to Yosemite. In the beginning, before any bodies were recovered, it was my belief that something happened to her in Yosemite, but I don't believe that they would execute a plan there and then bring her remains all the way over to Chad's property. So I'm not really sure what the exact date is that she was last seen and the actual cause of death, or I'm sorry, not cause of death, the death date. Okay. So then September, their last scene, Lori's moving in on this plan of hers, again, just my opinion, to wed this loser face right here who's running his cult and talking about doomsday and all of this stuff. So she's like, oh, hell yeah. Okay, Charles is out of the picture. My kids are out of the picture. It's time to marry this guy and lock him down. But instead of going to a jeweler with him and picking out a ring, which, by the way, he's still married, she signs on to Amazon under good old Charles Vallow, her deceased husband's account, and buys a wedding ring, while Tammy, Chad's wife, is still alive. Then, just, 17 days later, Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife, dies of natural causes. Very convenient. It's very funny to me and very interesting that a healthy woman would die of natural causes 2 weeks after you bought a wedding ring. I get it that you thought that you were going to live past the ends of the earth or whatever your thought process was, but how did you guys have that ability to foresee that you could get married and that she would be out of the picture? Unless, of course, you were somehow behind it. And not only that, which is very interesting, but then you kick it over literally, 14 days, another 2 weeks. These two jokers go to Hawaii and with this dumbass ukulele picture, like I freaking can't, and they get married. So once again, we see a pattern here. Lori wasn't in mourning when Charles died. Homegirl threw a pool party, and Chad wasn't in mourning when his dear wife Tammy of 27, 26, 29 years passed away. Nope. 2 weeks later, he books it to Hawaii with Lori, and they get married on the beach and have this idiot photo shoot. It's just, they look like, sorry guys, I'm trying to keep it as professional as possible, but they look like a couple of D-bags. Anyways, so they get married in Hawaii 2 weeks after Tammy passes away. They now at this point think that they have gotten away with everything. Charles is gone. Tammy's gone. The kids are gone. We're going to start our doomsday life. It's going to be. So next up, just a few weeks later, after return to Idaho, they flee Idaho after a welfare check is conducted looking for the children. They initially, when the police show up, they lie and the kids are there. They were in Arizona with Melanie, I believe was the story, correct? And then the very next day when they realize that was a lie and they come back to check, they're gone, packed up and gone. Not even 2 weeks later, as things are starting to make sense and start to click and investigations are happening, Tammy Daybell's body is exhumed for an autopsy. Now, here's what I think is very, very interesting. I've been telling you my theory, and let me know in the chat if you agree with me. I believe that Alex Cox, Lori's brother, is the one who has always done Lori's dirty work. I think he's the one who, killed Charles for her. I think he killed the children for her. I think he was behind the Tammy situation too. I think that he is her henchman because they had a very odd, close relationship. And so conveniently enough, as luck have it for good old Alex, or not luck, but possibly a plot, literally the day after Tammy's body is exhumed for autopsy, Alex dies of natural causes. Now, for me, I personally, I'm just going to kick on my camera here one more time, guys. Sorry, because it's self-timer. I believe that he was scared, or not, I shouldn't say he was scared. I believe that Lori and Chad were spooked because they already now had to account for the missing children. They were under investigation and under suspicion for that. Now that Tammy's body is exhumed and they're looking into her autopsy, I think they were worried, oh shit, if they start to question us or question Alex, he may crack and he may say something. We tie up our loose ends here so that we can live in a happily ever after day. So even after Alex's autopsy was complete, I believe it was they found blood clots or something like that in his lungs. My gut feeling that they did something to Alex to keep his mouth shut. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. So then we fast forward a little over a month. We are under the new year, and Lori was ordered to produce the children to show that they were in fact safe, that they were doing well, and she misses that court due date and she doesn't produce the kids. And I remember vividly, this was literally right at I lived in New York at the time, and so it was right at the start of when COVID was kind of starting to come into the country, but nobody quite knew what it was yet or believed it. And it was like there were only like 10 cases. But I remember this vividly because I remember every single morning I would watch on Good Morning America while I was just sipping my tea, getting ready for work when my office was still open at the time. And I remember being like, she's not going to show up to court. She's not going to bring the kids. I bet you anything, those kids are long gone. And I remember this day when that happened, I was like, holy shit, it's really happening. I knew it. I just knew in my gut. And I'm sure so many of you guys felt the same way. So about 3 weeks later, on February 20th, Lori then is arrested because she did not produce the children. And I can't remember exactly. I believe she was extradited from Hawaii back to Idaho. There's so many details and I have to brush up on all this again, but I believe she was extradited from Hawaii to Idaho, but you guys let me, and I hope that's the right word. I don't know. All right. So then we are kind of waiting on pins and needles. She keeps saying they're safe, but I know where they are. So then there was false hope that, okay, did she and Chad just hide the kids away somewhere because they are scared the world's going to end and they want them, like, everybody was holding to hope a little bit. On April 9th, just a couple of months, the Attorney General announced that Chad and Lori were under investigation for conspiracy and attempted murder. That's everything kind of really started to set in. We're like, okay, everybody's calling it. They know the kids aren't anywhere. So where are they now? Now it's a recovery mission. It's time to find the children or get the confession, get some freaking answers, because nobody was giving up answers ever. And I remember it was the most frustrating thing ever. Then what felt like Christmas and New Year's rolled into one came around on June 9th. And again, I remember this day so vividly. And I think that this was right when I started this YouTube channel, actually, because I think I went live doing the search. And if I didn't have my YouTube, I did it on TikTok. But it's been about a year now since I've been on here. And so June 9th, that search warrant was executed on Chad Daybell's property, and Chad was arrested. And that's when they found the remains of children in a horrific way. And just like, listen to disgusting. And this bag, look at his stupid ass face, I love sides of like picture of his DMV picture. Oh, there's a better side by side. His DMV picture, and then his like ragamuffin, disgusting, I need a haircut picture where he's just like shadowed and sad looking. All right. Then a couple weeks go, and Lori and Chad are officially charged with conspiracy to commit destruction or conceal evidence. And that was again due to the manner in which the remains were discovered, the duct tape, the bags, the whole nine. And I'm not going to go into a ton of those details on here. I have previous videos and I'll link my playlist for those videos here later, but you can watch those and it goes into much more detail as to what they found and, all of that. So I see you guys are saying my audio sounds strange. Sorry, guys. Hopefully it gets better. Let me know, lagging a bit. Okay, I might need to unshare this and then reshare. Let me try this. Okay, we're going to unshare for a second and let me know if that's better, and then I'll reshare. I see in all caps, you're breaking up, you're breaking up. Give me a 1 if you can hear me, 2 if you can't. Maybe I'll reset my mic. Oh, better. Okay, so let me just reshare. And then we're almost done with that page anyway, so shouldn't be that crazy. Okay. So then here that brings us to obviously the most recent update, which was just 2 days ago. And Lori and Chad are indicted on the murder charges of JJ, Tylee, and Tammy Daybell. So there you have it. That is the path of destruction flowchart. There are a lot of other details still that stack within there, such as the Melanie Gibb testimony, her Dateline interview, the audio recordings that we heard in the jail cells. I mean, so much. This is just kind of the flowchart and timeline of how they're all interconnected. So, well, thank you. I am so glad that you liked it. And yes, Cherie or Sherry, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but you're absolutely right. They would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for Kay and Larry, because they were the ones who not only demanded the welfare check, but they had the flyers, they were on the news, they were really demanding answers for where these two children are. And it was just heartbreaking to watch. All right, let me go back up in the chat and answer some of your guys' questions as I was going through. Oh, this is interesting. Moni, I was wondering if Alex got COVID, but it's crazy that it's actually more likely that he was murdered. Perhaps he could have gotten COVID. It was kind of around that timeline, but that's also when cases were so small in the US, and to everybody's knowledge, he hadn't quite traveled internationally at all. I mean, I just believe if it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it is a duck. And I believe every person in this circle who has passed away, it has been murder. I don't believe it's been natural causes, so much so that honestly, it makes me wonder about Joseph Ryan. And because I don't know what her motive would be, because they were officially divorced. And let me just go back here and share my screen and tell me what you guys think too in the comments. But whoops. Like if I look here, so they married in 2001 and divorced in 2004. So I don't know that she would get anything or how that would work with life insurance, or I don't know if that would be a motivation. But the fact that the circumstances surrounding his death were so eerily similar to Tammy's, to Alex, to all these, like, it doesn't sit right with me, guys. It really just doesn't. Yes, I agree. I think they should. And you know what? I think that, okay, Jenny, I'm going to skip ahead too really quick. Jenny, I agree with you. I think she didn't want to share Tylee, and I think she was trying to have these plans to have build this beautiful little life with Charles and Tylee, and then they adopted JJ. But then, of course, she met Chad. So just like she moved on from that life to Charles, she moved on from that to Chad. And it's just like, this woman is like a Black Widow, just a Looney Tune. You're right. You know what? Brennan Tube, you are saying that his sister mentioned it. There was audio, and somebody in the chat, please let me know. There was audio that came out that said she would have murdered him, I believe. That's right? I'm not making that up, am I? I'm almost positive. I assume you mean Tylee. Tylee got Social Security benefits after her father died. That's the motive for Joseph Ryan. So it is. It's all about that money. God, get a life. Get a job. God. Okay, yes. Thank you. There was audio. I knew I wasn't making that up. Joe Ryan died in 2018. Which was, I need to look up the month, but that was right when she had met Chad Daybell as well. So she probably was trying to kill all these people off, collect all their money to give to Chad so he could fund all of his loser book deals and his doomsday cave or whatever he was trying to do. And then once they were at the end of all of that, I don't know what the purpose would be of the kids, except for they were getting in the way of what their plan was. And then Tammy, they obviously couldn't get married and have their stupid ukulele wedding if Tammy was in the picture. And so they had to do what they do and get rid of Tammy. Tylee got her dad's Social Security benefits. That after Tylee died, Lori transferred it to her own account. That's very interesting. Do you know what amount of money that was? Interesting. Charles died in 2019, and Joseph died in 2018. Sarcastic Superhero Girl, is there any suspicion that there may have been some plan to kill JJ's grandparents? I ask because it only seems like this became a problem because they were asking about the kids. Possibly, but at that point, I think they were in the limelight already so much with the media that I'm not to say that Chad and Lori aren't complete morons, but they would have to be ultra morons in order to do that, because that would look super suspicious. Melissa is saying Chad got $430,000 for Tammy. It's disgusting. It's honestly disgusting. Okay, so keep asking your questions in the comment section. For other case questions, throw them in the comment section, and we kind of just keep this going. Like I said, we're going to just kind of have a open forum, unrestricted live. If you also want me to drop the link for panel, let me know, and I can do that as well. I'm really eager to see what the autopsy results were from Tammy. I want to see all that, which I'm sure it's poison of some sort. Same thing for Alex is my guess. And I want to know too if Zulema has an immunity deal. Does anybody know if that's been confirmed? I know there's a lot of speculation. I would love to know if she has an immunity deal. I don't believe the cause of death was determined yet, but I remember hearing something about a gunshot, and I believe that may have been the cause of death. Plus, it aligns with the raccoon story that Chad told Tammy that day he was burying them in the backyard, allegedly, that he shot the raccoon. And so I believe that the raccoon was a metaphor for the child. Stitchy Witchy saying Zulema does have some sort of immunity deal. What about the Dugars? I don't know what's going on with that sicko. I don't know. I don't have an update on him. Brave Little Munchkin, people make me sick. Why are all these folks killing their children? So many that can't have them and would love to adopt. I'll never understand. I absolutely, completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Unfortunately, there still isn't an update on the West Boys. People are still out there searching. The reward is still being pushed out there. Nobody has really made any public statements about anything. I had mentioned in my brief live, when was it? I think it was yesterday, maybe, that I think that this case with Lori and Chad is a great example, though, that not all cases go cold and that answers do come. So I'm hopeful that we do get answers. And I believe it's just a matter of time. So Tracy, they already did an autopsy on Alex, and then I believe he was cremated after the fact. And I believe that autopsy did show blood clots in his lung. But let me know. I'm almost positive, but you guys let me know and confirm if that's accurate or not. Love Bug, just wanted to say I still love your videos. Oh, I'm glad. Thank you. Any update on SL and or Tristan? So no real update. There's been a lot of talk the last week and a half about SL and things that are going on in that case and recent hearings. I have yet to see actual black and white documents or anything saying that it's anything other than hearsay, which is why I haven't spoken out on it publicly. Once there is concrete and factual information, I absolutely will give that. I will say that after I started hearing a lot of the talk and chatter about what's going on in this case, I did reach out to Courtney and I spoke with her directly, and I asked her very pointed questions, which I know some of you guys in Discord already know, and asked her, did you testify this? Did you testify that? What's this? And she basically negated everything that was being spread out there publicly. If that's true or not, I don't know. I just know what she told me. And she said, basically, she had testified not that there was in fact coaching, but she testified that she no longer knows what Michael is capable of because she did discover late last year, early first of the year, that he was having several conversations that she wasn't aware about with Sophie in the middle of the night. With SL in the middle of the night at all hours. And so she basically said they were having a lot of conversations that I wasn't made aware of, that I didn't even know were taking place. So at this point, I don't know what he's capable of. But I asked her, so did you say that you believe he coached? And she said no. And I have all of those screenshots too. But again, who knows what's true and what's not. That's why I haven't done an update. And that's why I'm waiting to actually get concrete court documents or proof otherwise. And then I will give you guys an update. And if you have that, of course, feel free to email it. And for Tristan, no big updates in the case. I believe sentencing is, I want to say the end of this week or early next week. I have to double check. And that's all I can really say at this point, because I've been in touch with some people close to the case, and I am going to pause on talking about it for now so we don't jeopardize anything. So that's all I can say with that. No updates on Alexis Sharkey, unfortunately, but that's another one that I'm hopeful that it doesn't go cold. And but there's no real updates. So basically she said it could be possible, but she herself didn't know. She said she didn't know what, she said at this point, I don't know what he's capable of. But then she continued to, as she and I were talking, and this was again, just like 3 or 4 days ago, she continued to say she still has a hard time believing that that SL would lie or be able to act what she saw and what she witnessed and all of that. So, I mean, everything, and maybe I'll end up when I do the update sharing those screenshots, but everything that I saw and that I was told just recently from her makes me believe she doesn't think that there was coaching. But again, people could be lying to me. So I don't know. That's why I've just chosen to wait until we get some actual concrete evidence and it's not all hearsay. Elle has the cash case. Yes. So I actually added a thread in Discord for this case either yesterday or the day before, because a lot of you guys have been messaging me and requesting coverage on this and information. Sorry. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this one, guy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because he is close in age to my son. I just have a very, very hard time with this one. Every time I try to get into reading about it and learning the details or watching the videos, I just can't. And I have like a physical reaction to it. And that was very similar to the baby Brianna case. I ended up covering 3 months after the fact because it took me that long to actually stomach it and be able to do it. And I'm having the same kind of reaction to this one. And so I want to, because I know that a lot of you are requesting it. And I do believe that we need to bring awareness and that we need to get justice. And I had even suggested in my Discord, I'm happy to help where I can collect it and have one of you guys present the case on my channel. I just truthfully, and I don't know if it's because I'm also pregnant now and my son's that is similar in age, I'm having a really hard time reconciling things and putting something together. And so I don't know yet. I'm already a mess, but being pregnant, it doesn't help. And when the next thing is, so with SL or whenever we done, I still believe that the trial is set for sometime in June. I don't know the date. I feel like I remember it being somewhere around like the late 18th or the 19th, but I could be wrong. But then I know that the next step in just like the whole umbrella of everything is the protective order that Courtney has against Michael. And I believe those are next steps. DaBaby, yes, I just briefly mentioned that. I am keeping up with it. And there's only so much I can share at the moment, but keeping up with it. I do believe, I guess I will say this, because I thought earlier in the comments, some people questioned the new lawsuit that was filed by Michael. If you're in Discord, you already know my thoughts on that. But I personally, first of all, I don't believe there's any validity in it. I knew that this was going, I didn't know to this extent, but I knew that there was a plan in place of him filing a suit against Collin County and Corporal Plummer or whatever his name is and all of those people, because I remember back in October when I spoke with him and Jamie on the phone, they both told me about that was the plan after that audio and everything happened. And so I kind of like, oh, okay, eventually he's going to file a civil suit or whatever suit against these people because he does believe that there's some sort of corruption or whatever happening. I didn't think he was going to throw in Yahoo, Nancy Grace, the Daily Mail, the chicken next door. Like, I mean, that surprised me. Again, personally, I don't think that there's any validity to it to where he could possibly think he's going to win, especially if he's representing himself and just the amount of time that's going to take. But I think that's exactly what it is. I think it is a strategic move to tie everybody up in litigation for as long as possible to delay everything else, and to just kind of keep this whole thing going. And I think that it was more of a strategic tactic. I could be wrong, but the second I saw that, that's what I thought. I was like, oh boy, here we go. And I think it's just, again, a clever move to delay things even further. But what I did find interesting is there was a lot of chatter in the last week or so about not only Courtney blaming him for coaching, but him blaming Courtney for coaching. And in that civil suit, he states that he still believes the mother, and I won't say her name on here, the mother is the danger to all of the kids. And so he's also requesting custody back of the two boys. And so I believe, so then I started thinking, okay, if he truly did admit in court that he thinks, not even that he did anything, but that if he thinks Courtney is responsible for the coaching, then that counteracts everything he's trying to say in this civil suit, saying the mother's the danger and that she's the problem. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So again, that's why I haven't said anything or given an update, because I don't think there is a real update to give. All of that was just hearsay. And when you do see the actual court documents, there are certain things that negate each other, if that makes sense. I agree. I think it's just a stall tactic. The only I do know, and again, who knows what could be photoshopped, what isn't photoshopped. I do know that he did take the drug test and it came back negative. That's all I know. Not in I don't think in the civil suit. I think it's pro se. I'm pretty sure it is, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I agree, but at the same time, I don't know that they really are throwing each other under the bus. Maybe they are, but until we see the actual testimony and documents, I don't know that they are. I think that's a lot of, maybe, I'm sure there's some truth to it, because otherwise who's going to just make up these stories out there? But I don't know to what degree, because again, when I had that conversation with her just a couple of days ago, she was saying she doesn't know what he's capable of. Absolutely. But was still saying in the same breath, but I can't imagine acted or that it would be a lie. Whereas what I had heard was portrayed as she's saying he absolutely did it. She found text messages proving that he did it, this and that. And she was saying, no, the text messages she found were more of things that he was instructing her to allegedly hide, such as a social media account she had that she wasn't supposed to. But again, I'm sure I've been lied to in the past 8 months. I could be easily being lied to again. I like to believe that, but that's why I'm just saying. ML is a tool. I thought Jamie was still representing him. Oh, did we already? No, I believe she is in the family court piece of it, but I don't believe in the civil. I thought I read that he was pro se, but I don't know. Any updates on Maya Malete? No. And I'm hopeful that as we are kind of on this upward trajectory of like Barry Morphew, Lori and Chad, all these things, that we start kind of getting answers for all of these cases. I think it's a matter of time, because what was it? When Larry was given the TRO, which was what, and Larry is Maya's husband, he was given the TRO, I think 2 weeks ago, and I think it expires after 21 days. And then that's when they have to either re-up or they have to file charges. So I'm guessing that within the next week or so, give or take, we'll have some more answers. I don't know that we'll have an arrest necessarily, but I think we'll start to have some more answers, because I do believe that they did that and with the gun piece, all that gun stuff, as like, a tactic to kind of like hold time a little, take some action, and then as they go to the next step. What about the SANE exam? Did that ever get revealed? Not that I saw. The last I saw, which, gosh, to look back, because I have literally everything saved, thank God, on the cloud and archived. I'd have to go back, and it had to have been before the big blow up, when I first stepped back, like in December, I think that was. It was either December or the last time that I saw where you basically an app or a website where you log in, you enter the lab code, everything, and then it populates and it shows you the tracking of where the exam is. And that was the last time, I believe. And when I did see it, it said it was still pending. It said that it hadn't been processed. I think, gosh, sorry, I'd have to go back and look. I remember it had transferred from like Houston to somewhere else, to Frisco, back to somewhere else. It had gone to a bunch of different places, but it still hadn't been processed. And that was the last I saw. Do you know the rumor that ML no longer has? I don't know. I asked Courtney that when I spoke with her, and she said she doesn't even know, because she says she left as soon as she was done testifying before another person went up and testified. And so she doesn't know. I've heard mixed, but I don't know. To my knowledge, no. But I've heard mixed things here. I've heard that he hasn't, but then I've also heard that he's tried and has not been allowed. So I couldn't tell you either way which one's true or not. Just like you guys, I don't talk to him obviously anymore, and I talk to Courtney here and there, but I know probably as much as you guys in regards to just the hearsay that comes and the gossip and chatter that's going on, and then when actual court documents do emerge. So I don't have a lot of the inside intel at this point. Is Aiden tried as an adult? I don't believe they've announced that yet. Let me look and see if something came through today. I think his sentencing is the end of this week or early next week. Let me see. Somebody told me it was like in 8 days, and that was like, what, 4 or 5 days ago? Let me see. Let me see. So the ruled that he'll be detained at the juvenile center until May 31st. So maybe maybe the day after Memorial Day is when he will have a sentencing. That makes sense, I guess. But I don't think it's been decided yet. I believe he will be tried as an adult. That's just my personal belief based on some of the statements that were made by the investigators and the severity of the crime. But I guess we'll see. Amen. Amen. Well, and even that's why I'm saying, even the information that I'm receiving directly from Courtney, it's not black and white. So, and literally, sorry, my camera just hit off. It's not black and white. And if we have been taught anything over the last 8 months, it's clearly that you can't always trust people and what they're telling you. So I choose to believe certain things, and I don't believe that she would have any reason to lie to me. But again, until I see something in black and white, that's why I haven't given an update. How did you get the footage? What footage are you referring to, Angie? So I'm wondering, should I drop the link for panel, or do you not care? I mean, we could just keep answering questions in the chat. Let me go up here. Sorry, guys. I see your comments that it's lagging a little bit. I haven't heard anything on the Claire Miller case, but I'm also not very familiar with that case. I agree, Leah. Larry is next. Take everything with a grain of salt. I hear you. I hear you. Yes, so I forget what the statistic was. I was reading it a few weeks ago, but because of COVID, the DV and SA and CA cases are going up. I want to say it was in the 70% range since COVID because of being in, close quarters with people, being able to get away with a lot more because people aren't seeing people. They're not able to see a teacher and disclose. They're not able to see a friend. You're not able to walk in the grocery store as freely as maybe you once were. And so it's really unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate. Any new information on Scott Peterson? The latest I heard, so we all know that the death penalty was overturned, and I believe he is still fighting for a retrial. And the last I heard, which I think it was like a day or two ago, they had said they had evidence that they believe will exonerate him. Tim, I don't think he's being released on May 31st. I think that's when the charges have to be filed. And so they have to decide if they're going to charge him as a child or adult. They're not going to release some kid that murdered a young girl. That would be, I don't want to say crazier things have happened, but yeah. Thank you so much. I know my guys, literally. Okay, we're just going to show you the bump. You see, I have my comfy pants on. I have my bump hanging over. Just chilling. Pregnant life over here. Pregnant life. Let's see. I didn't study the case. I'm familiar with the case, but I didn't do a deep dive and study it. But I'm pretty familiar with the case, and I watched the documentary. Ooh, this is a great question. You keep coming in with the questions. What do you think about the TikTokers trying to get the Menendez case reheard or whatever they're trying to do? My teen daughter told me about it. It's pretty interesting, and there was a 2020 on it not too long ago because it has now gone completely viral on TikTok. You're right, because they all, their argument is that they were abused at the hands of their parents and that they were reactionary and that they were technically not children because they weren't underage, but it was self-defense, and because they had been mentally tormented for so many years. I find it interesting, to be honest. I definitely don't think they're innocent, and I don't think that they should be released, which a lot of people are calling for. But I do think it's interesting enough to take a closer look as to what really could have happened in their childhood that led to to these events. Because originally, even though there was speculation, it was always portrayed that they had a mental break. They were going after their parents for money and they were just selfish, spoiled little kids. But now you add in this whole other layer of, okay, wow, there's more testimony involved. This is something that happened in the late 80s, early 90s. So is there possibly, if it happened today, would there be new evidence involved because of tech, because of, DNA, whatever it may be? I think it's worth looking into just for any reason to see what their true mental state was at that point. If it was just driven by greed or if it was something rooted a lot deeper. Well, sorry, Jackie. I'm sorry to hear you don't like the cases that we cover, but it's not always just headlines. If you take a look at all of the videos in my archive, I bet you there's a lot of them you're not familiar with. But you can't please everybody, can you? Exactly. The Menendez brothers are not innocent. No. I see a lot of questions coming in that we've already gone over, so I don't want to be redundant, but I believe sentencing is going to be early next week, if not the end of this week. I have to double check. I think this is, you mean for the Menendez brothers? Right, this is what I mean. So like and at this point though, I don't know if a psychological prison would be much different than a regular prison given how much time they've already spent in the regular prison system. I don't know that they would have now so much more additional work that would need to be done based on their experience in prison. But that's what I mean. Like if there is more evidence and proof of something that went a little bit deeper and some tragedy that was going on in their childhood, does that make the circumstances a little different in the sense, not that it's excusable by any means, but just to kind of tee up their frame of mind, Thank you so much for the super chat, Teal, and for the compliment. I appreciate it. I don't know what's going on today with these braids, but we're just doing it. There is a lot of speculation, yes, David, that he was, but I don't believe it's been confirmed. So as I mentioned, guys, I don't know whether you're here for the Orrin and Orson West case, the Chad and Lori Daybell case, the Tristan Bailey case, the SL case, whatever it is that brought you here today to discuss. Feel free to join Discord. We have different threads for literally all these cases, and we're sharing 24/7 and talking about things. We also just have like a group chat thread where we like send pictures of our kids, our animals, and our day. But feel free to join. And if you want more true crime rather than just, these little tiny segments of lives or pre-record videos that get uploaded, because there's so many more details that we go into on there, not just because it's easier because it's in real time, but just because, well, I guess that is it, because it's in real time. As you're getting updates, you're talking about it. And I can't always jump on here given my son, the pregnancy, and my job, my real job. And so feel free to join. And here, I'll just throw that up. All right, what else? People are never happy. I know. I am so glad that they got murder charges as well. I am so glad. I think that it is finally a little bit of justice. And we are like going into the summer of trials. We've got what? We've got Boswell. Do we have another Letitia trial date? And then we've got now Aiden. We've got who else? I mean, God, we've got a ton. Oh my God. Honestly, are you still doing content for your vlog channel? I haven't, because I haven't had time. And honestly, I feel like I'm pretty boring, so I don't even know what the content would be on there, to be quite honest, which is why I haven't updated it since February. I don't think honestly, I don't know that there's much content I could do. It's still there, and maybe I will. I just honestly haven't had the time to be quite transparent. Now that you mentioned Boswell, is there an update on that? There hasn't been an update since she had her last appearance. And I think we're just waiting now on trial to start, which is this summer. Yes, it's a true crime channel, not a private detective office. Although I would like to be a private detective. My husband probably would hate that because he'd get caught up in all sorts of things. Not that he's like that. That came out way wrong, but he knows I already dig at everything. So whatever. Show us how you cook spaghetti. that was probably one of the more low points in my life when you guys saw that I don't know how to cook spaghetti. You could do pregnancy updates. Honestly, I could. I don't know that anybody would be interested in seeing them because literally each update would just be me getting on the scale and that number climbing, and then me complaining that I feel like crap, but still not exercising or doing anything about it. And then me chiefing in and out and not doing anything about it. Like, I don't know what updates I would give except for, oh, well, now today I can't fit into my size medium pants anymore. I'm in a size large pant. Or, hey, my feet are starting to swell. I can't fit in my size shoe anymore. It's an 8.5, even though pre-first baby, I was a 7.5, you know? Or now I can't shave my legs because I literally can't bend over the bump. And so it's like I fall over in the shower. Sorry, guys. I know that I'm just in a weird mood today. But I could do updates if you want them. I just don't know if they'd be that interesting. I could do a house update. That's a good point. I could do a house update. We are finally settled in, for the most part, into our new home. And we actually gutted the entire backyard, and we are just about done with that. So I could do a backyard and house update. That's a good point. I'm trying to make it like Beverly Hills Hotel theme back there. So it's like lots of pink and black and white stripes and greenery. And I show a little bit on my Instagram, which is more like personal behind the scenes if you guys are interested. But yeah, I could do an update on the house. Karsten, well, first of all, congratulations. 27 weeks and miserable. That's just like me. Oh, you live right by me. Living in Newport Beach is nice, but no AC, and the summers get too hot for me. You literally live a stone throw away from me. How funny. But yeah, it's been hot the last couple of days here, isn't it? It's been really hot. But yeah, you're right. Those places in Newport, they don't have AC because you're by the beach, but then in the summer, it gets brutal. I could do a nursery update, yes, but then I would have to admit that I have done absolutely zero for the nursery except have it painted. I need to get my life together. We are about to have some bad stories. Oh, be safe, Sandra. Be safe. You can join Discord through Patreon. Once you go to Patreon and sign up, it automatically links you. Or it should automatically link you. Are there any updates about the boys in the Bailey case? Now, when you say boys, I assume you mean plural. Explain that to me. I'm over here like getting so sweaty and disgusting. Have you picked out a name yet? We have. We have picked out a name yet. Or picked out a name yet. We have picked out a name, yes. But I'm not sharing that yet, just in case we change our mind. Your mic keeps randomly getting real loud, then goes back to normal. Oh, all right, maybe I need to reset it. Sorry, guys. All right, well, let me know. Oh, yes, Food Channel back in Discord. I will add that back in. Sorry, I forgot when I cleaned everything up. I got rid of that. Yeah, I will absolutely do that. Well, thank you very much. It's not a glow as much as it is sweat, but I guess that's kind of glowy. But yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in with me today. If you have more questions, leave them in the comments below. Or, of course, as always, shoot me an email if you want to talk more about all of these cases as updates come and just kind of talking about our theories and what we've heard and things like that. Head over to Discord, join there. It's easier for me to hop on there truthfully during the day than it is to schedule a live. But I am going to try to make this more of a regular thing and come on with you guys more frequently, whether it's a live or pre-recorded video. So make sure if you haven't subscribed yet that you do hit that subscribe button so that you get notified when they happen. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in and joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the case coverage, and I hope you enjoyed the OCD flowchart that I made. Until the next case, stay safe. safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.